So getting close to the new year. Wow. So sit comfortably, let yourself, if you want to grab some blankets or anything to sit up higher on, by all means do. If you need to stretch your legs out, do. But kind of shift around a little bit. Let yourself maybe just rock a little bit and get evened out on your sitting bones. And then as you lengthen up and you start to really feel easy there in the length of your spine, just bring one hand to your chest and one down towards your belly, around your navel somewhere for just a few breaths, letting yourself feel what part of your body moves when you breathe in and out. See if you can feel the breath coming into the belly, maybe even rising up to your chest. You can release your hands whenever you want if you're more comfortable. Just let yourself stay with your breath. Start to move with your breath, with the exhale bringing you forward and your inhales bringing you back up. So you start that gentle now, rocking back and forth with your breath. And then the next time that you come forward, go ahead and stay forward. You can put your hands wherever you like. You can go as far forward as you like. You can stay up higher if that feels better for you. Just take your time, letting yourself release to where you start to feel a little stretch in your back, but it feels good. You can let your head hang, release your neck. One more breath here. And then we'll make our way all the way on back upright. And let your fingertips come out onto the floor beside you here now. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands right down together in front of our hearts. And then we'll reverse the arms and inhale the hands right up through the midline. And on the exhale, open the arms on back out and down. Inhaling here, and on the exhale, let's twist to our right. And I'm going to mirror you. Bring yourself on around and, be mindful of where you put that left hand. Doesn't matter whether it's midline or across to your knee. Let's be easy. And then on your next inhale, let your right arm, rise up overhead. So you really feel this sense of length all the way up through the fingertips. Feel your sitting bone drawing down to the floor. Just slowly lower the arm back down, and you can look a little more behind yourself if you choose to there. One more inhale, and on the exhale we'll come on back and stop at center. Let yourself enjoy. Once you get on back around out of the twist, take a nice inhale, and on the exhale we're going to twist the other way. So bringing that twist easily into the middle of your back. Feel your sitting bones drawing down. Lengthen up through the top of your head. And then on your next inhale, let that back left arm rise straight up. If you can, as long as your shoulder lets you. Reach up through the fingertips. Feel the left sitting bone drawing down so you find length in that side. Good. And when you get ready to lower the arm down, maybe, just maybe, you might want to go to look a little further back behind yourself. One more inhale. And as you exhale, use your belly to bring you back on around into center again. Good. And let's come on forward again one more time. And maybe as you flex your feet here and press into the whatever part of your feet are touching the ground, maybe you can go a little further than you did before. And then once you do get farther forward, and you support yourself, let your torso shift a little bit from side to side, but keep your hands right there at center. And just enjoy shifting a little bit over to the right and then a little bit over to the left so that it just feels really good. Feels good in your back. Good. And then finish back at center. And we're going to walk ourselves back up again. We are going to switch the cross of our legs, so if you feel like you want to stretch them out and when you come back to cross-legged, be on the other side, do. And then if you don't need your legs long, keep them long, but if you're cross-legged, just recross other leg in front and sit up nice and tall again. And let's inhale both arms all the way out and up. See if you can touch your fingertips together there just for a second without lifting the shoulders way up too high. And then lower your left arm down, and we're going to come over into side stretch from here. So letting that left hand give you a little support. You can bend the elbow as deeply as you want to and let yourself breathe into that side. Just enjoy opening up through the side body here. And then we'll come on back up, bring that left arm up. And again, if you can touch fingertips together, do, but don't force it with your shoulders, right? And then we'll lower the other arm down. So right arm comes down, we're reaching up through the left side, and then again, as you come over into that side stretch, just take it slow and really enjoy the breath coming into the left ribs, waking up the side body. Good. One more breath. And then we're going to come on back up again. This time, bring your hands behind you and clasp your hands. And then ease your way a little bit forward, thinking of leading with your chest a little bit. So you're just keeping your hands back there. You don't have to go very far. You can go as far as you want. You know, if you like to go farther, do it. And let the chest feel nice and open. Feel the shoulders away from your ears. And just really appreciate feeling that sense of opening up across your chest. One more breath. And then we'll rise on back up, letting ourselves come up. And now put your hands on the floor and go ahead and lean back a little bit, drawing the chest forward, the shoulders back. You can be on fingertips or you can go, flat onto your hands if you want. Be mindful of how your neck feels. Good. And then we'll come on back up to sitting. Actually, let's stretch our legs out, but then apart a little bit, not wide, just a little bit apart. And then just bring yourself forward a bit from your low back, right? So some of us might want to keep our hands here on our shins, or you may want to slide your hands down farther. You may even want to, touch your toes or whatever feels good to just release here in the backs of the legs. Let yourself open up there and good. One more breath. And then we'll come on back up and bring our legs together, shake them out a little bit. And we're going to come around towards our hands and knees. So take your time, come on around, grab a blanket if you need. That made me think, I don't know if I turned this phone off. Take your time and come on onto your hands and knees, get comfortable there. Good. Moving through your cat-cow now. Take your time. So if you decide you want to stay in cat or cow for a breath or two without moving, do it. If it feels really good to go down to your forearms instead of being in your hands, go right ahead. And just enjoy that movement through the spine, that kind of flowing feeling. finish off the one you're on, we'll come back to a more neutral spine here. And look over towards your left. Let your left arm float up. And it can go as high as you want. It can stay right out from your shoulder parallel to the floor, or you might want to reach up, all the way up towards the ceiling. We're going to thread the needle with that left arm, coming on down onto the left side of our head. And then just adjust whatever feels good with that right arm. Stretch it out overhead if you want to, or keep the hand in front of your face if that feels good. You know, just letting yourself open up into between the shoulder blades on your back and breathe. Nice, full, easy breaths. And then we'll bring the right hand back by our face, press our way right on back up to all fours, get situated there, and then look to your right, rise the right arm up again. It can stay just right out from your hand, out from your shoulder, or you can keep going up with the hand. So that really depends on your shoulder. And then as we bring that arm on down, we're going to thread the needle on this side and come on down to the right side of your head. And again, kind of be comfortable in this where you put the left hand. You know, you may just want to let the elbow bend and stay there. You may want to stretch the arm like you're doing down dog. Just be mindful. Let it feel really good. Good. One more breath. And then we'll bring the left hand back so we can press our way back up again. And from here, come on forward so you can curl your toes under, lift your knees up, and slowly, slowly reach back into a down dog. So take your time. If you need to come down and readjust your hands, do. You can always glance at your hands, make sure they're in a good place. Walk your dog if you want. Bend both your knees if that feels better. Chances are you haven't done a down dog in a few days, so just let yourself adjust. Good. And then from here, we'll bring our knees on back down because we're going to step our left foot forward to come into lunge. So if you know you like your blocks any height, go ahead and grab them and bring that left foot forward, right foot back, and find that first lunge. So take your time, get yourself adjusted into the length of stance that feels good. And remember, you don't want your feet lined up in that line. You want a little space the wide way between the feet. And just enjoy opening up here now. Find the whole back of the body nice and lengthened. Good, and we're going to switch legs. So however you want to come to the other side, bringing the right foot forward and the left foot back. Draw your shoulders down, let yourself enjoy finding that full length through the body. Good. We're going to switch our legs again. This time, if you feel like you want to lift up a bit, you know, you can bring your left hand or forearm to your thigh. I know a lot of you like to bring both hands up. If you want to do that, do. If you prefer to keep your hands down or at least one hand down, do. And we're going to switch legs again. So again, getting into a place that feels good to you. If you like to lift up a little bit or a lot, do it. If you don't, keep your hands down. Good. And then we'll come on back down with our hands, and we're going to step forward and come on into our standing forward bend. So be mindful, getting your feet in a good spot there. Use whatever kind of support you need under your hands or elbows above the knees if that works better for you. And then let your head hang and move your head around a little bit. You know, maybe nod your head, maybe shake your head, maybe a little bit of both. Let it feel really good. And then see if you can shift your weight, like more to the balls of the feet where your heels just barely come off the floor. And the same thing when you shift back to the heels, the balls of the feet just barely lift away from the floor a little bit. Your knees can be bent to do that. Just let yourself do it, shifting to where eventually you find that place right centered between your heels and the balls of your feet. Arches are lifting up, four corners of the feet drawing down into the ground. And then let your breath come easily in and out through your nose. Feel really released all through your face and all around your eyes and your mouth. And we will bring our hands up to our hips, bend our knees, and rise on up to standing. And we'll inhale our arms all the way out and up overhead. And let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts, coming into mountain pose. So if you need to kind of walk a little bit or adjust your feet in any way, do it, right? And then as you start to let yourself bring your gaze forward and out, get very evened out between your feet, get that feeling of stacking your hips over your ankles, shoulders over your hips, that alignment of your pelvis where it feels really easy with your tailbone reaching down. And just enjoy finding your mountain pose there. And then as we let our arms unfold on down beside us, we'll inhale both arms all the way out and up overhead. And on our exhale, bend our knees as we come on forward into standing forward bend. Let your next inhale help you find a nice long flat back wherever you want your hands to go. And we'll step our right foot back and come into lunge. Good. Now, for a second here in your lunge, see if you can lift your left heel up a little bit. Press your feet away from each other like you're trying to make your mat longer with your feet. And then let your heel come on back down, and we're going to come into down dog from here. So making your way into your downward facing dog pose. Spread the fingers wide, hug your elbows towards each other. If you want to walk, go for it. Reach equally back through your sitting bones and your tailbone. Good. And then we're going to come on out towards a plank. So making our way on forward and out. Engage the belly here. Let yourself feel nice and strong there, zipping up the low belly. And we're going to lower down. So if you'd like to put your knees down first, do elbows right by the ribs. We'll come into Sphinx. Coming onto those forearms, elbows as close to under the shoulders as you can be. Feel the tops of the feet just gently in the ground there. So you feel stretched to the top of your feet. And then just bend your right knee and let your right foot come up like you're putting a footprint on the ceiling. Keep your belly engaged. And then bring that foot back down and we'll go to the left. Foot comes up, it flexes, belly engages. It's okay if you kind of almost float a little off the floor there with your hip pointer bones. And then come on back down. Let yourself enjoy one more breath here in your Sphinx. And then we'll come on down. We're going to bring our hands by our chest and we're going to come on back into down dog, whether you want to go up through a half push-up or a full push-up, or maybe you just want to shift back to your hands and knees and back to down dog. Really feel your hands right now in the floor. Really feel like you're equal. You know, feel your thumbs and your pinkies both at the same time. And then the rest of the fingers into the floor, elbows hugging in towards each other. And we'll bring our right foot forward to come into lunge here. So really find your lunge. And if you can lift that right heel up off the floor a little bit, do. And press your feet a little away from each other like you're trying to lengthen your mat. Good. And then bring that heel down. We're going to step forward and come on into our Uttanasana. Standing forward bend with feet hips distance apart and parallel. And be mindful. If you need to use support, do it. If you feel like you'd like to bring your hands to a place that feels comfortable for you, you can kind of experiment. Move them around a little bit if you want. Feel the weight of your head
And then feel those breaths fully and deeply in and out through your nose. Good. One more breath. And then we'll let our hands come on up to our hips. We're going to bend our knees and rise up to standing. And inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on our exhale, let our hands come down together in front of our hearts. Let's unfold our arms. Bring our hands behind us. Let your hands clasp. And stay here just for a second, just to feel that three-part breath, starting in your belly, rising up through the ribs to your chest. And then, the next time you inhale, let your hands come away from your back a little bit. And when you exhale, let them come back down. So when you inhale, the hands come away. Doesn't matter how far. And exhale, they come on back down. And then one more time, just inhaling, letting the hands come away. And on the exhale, letting them come back down. And then from here, let your head bow forward. Let your chin come down towards your chest. Just release your neck a little bit there. And then slide your hands over to the left and roll your head so the right ear comes towards your right shoulder. Let yourself just release there through the side of the neck. Feel that left shoulder drawing up towards the ceiling. Now roll back to center with your head and bring your hands back to center behind you, and we're going to go the other side. So the hands just slide over a little bit. Your arms are still fairly long, and you're just letting yourself feel the weight of your head. Think of that right shoulder drawing up so you get really a lot of stretch to the side of your neck there. Good, and then we'll come on back into center with the head and the hands. And then let your gaze come on back forward. Take a nice inhale. And on the exhale, bend your knees and come on forward. Now what you do with your arms, you know when you're standing forward, bend here, is up to you. Right, so if you like to fold over your legs and bring your arms off your back, you can. That is not for everybody. So be mindful of your shoulders. One more breath. And then we'll release our arms on down and let your next inhale help you find that long, flat back. And we'll step our left foot back and come into lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your downward facing dog pose. Spread those fingers wide. Really reach back through your sitting bones. Now, press your feet away from each other like you're trying to widen your mat. Feel your inner thighs melt their way behind you. And on your next inhale, come on out to that plank. Nice and strong. And then bend your elbows a little tiny bit. They're hugging in towards each other. Just a little bit. Really wake up the biceps. Really feel the arms. And then come back into down dog from there. Reach back through your sit bones. Let your elbows still hug towards each other. Good. We'll come on back out to plank again. And again, a little tiny bend if you can, just for another breath. And then we're going to lower down. So knees first if you need. Elbows right by the ribs. And we'll come into either a little cobra where you still can stay very low. Hands on the ground. Just giving yourself a little support. You can continue upward if you choose. Your cobra is your choice how high you go. Elbows hug in. Shoulders away from the ears. Good. And then we're going to release back down, and we're going to shift back towards child's pose from here. So letting yourself bring your big toes together, knees apart. Shift back as only as far, obviously, as your knees let you go. Let your arms stay soft overhead if you can. Let your elbows bend and just really lie with your arms easy. If you'd rather bring them alongside your legs, do. You know, if that's better even for your shoulders. And really bring your breaths into your low back right here. Feel the low back expanding as you inhale. Good. One more breath. And then we'll reach our arms back long overhead. We're going to come back up to all fours and come on back into down dog. Let yourself reach back. And this time left foot is going to come forward to come into lunge. And then we'll come on back into our standing forward bend. So if you're able to hold your elbows, do. And if you know that is way not comfortable for your back, don't do it. Easy breaths. Soft all around your eyes and your mouth. And then we'll let our hands come on back up to our hips, press into our feet as we come on up, and inhale our arms all the way out and up. Let our exhale bring our hands down together in front of our hearts. Enjoy your mountain pose here. Just let yourself, if you need to shift around a little bit, do. Let mountain pose feel really easy, very balanced, like the air around you is supporting you. And then we'll release our arms down beside us and inhale the arms all the way out and up. And let's flow through. Exhale forward. Let your knees bend a little. Let your next inhale help you find a long flat back. Exhale, right foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Let your inhale bring you to your plank. Let your exhale lower you down. And inhale into your cobra of choice. How high? And exhaling back into down dog. Inhale. Exhale, right foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your standing forward bend. Bend your knees, rising all the way up to the top. And as you exhale, folding forward from the hips. Let your next inhale lengthen your spine. And exhale, left foot back to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into your down dog. Inhale your way out to plank. Exhale, lowering down. And inhale into that cobra of choice. Exhaling back into down dog. Inhale. Exhale, left foot forward to lunge. And inhale. Exhale into standing forward bend. Bend the knees, rising all the way up to the top. And let your exhale bring you forward again. Inhale, find that long back. And let's come into down dog, however you want to get there. Now you can walk back, jump back, step back. Take your time. Move however you need when you get there. If you like to walk a little bit or pick a foot up and kind of circle your feet around or anything that feels good. Wag your tail. Good. And then come on back, meet in your full down dog here. And from here we'll bring our left foot forward. We're coming up for warrior two. You might want your blocks handy. So take your time. Line up those heels. Let yourself be really mindful. Let your hands stay down for a second. Let yourself really get in from the feet all the way up through the legs into your hips first. Mindful of that front knee. Good, and then bring your hands together in front of your heart and clasp your hands and really squeeze your palms together for a second. And then just start to turn the palms away from your chest, pressing outward into the heels of the hands. And we're going to float the arms up. Now this is all dependent on your shoulders, and you know it. You can go as high as you choose. When you're ready to release your hands into warrior two, just let them float down. Let them come on down, bringing your gaze to turn to look out over the top of that left hand. Reaching out through the fingertips, feeling the feet in the floor. If you can, lift your left heel a little bit off the floor, do. If you can, thinking of letting that outer left hip release down. And then go ahead and lower the heel back down. We'll turn the left palm up and inhale. Reach up into reverse warrior. Really nice full breath there into the left side. And on our exhale, we're going to come into sine angle. So bringing your left hand or forearm to your thigh. Swinging that right arm on up into line. When you're ready, draw the pinky down towards the ground. And then see if you can bend your right elbow. Put your right hand behind your head for a second and press your head just gently into your hand. Feel how your belly fires up a little more there. Reach your right sitting bone down towards your right heel. And then extend the arm long again. Let yourself turn the pinky down. Find that sense of space between your right ear and your right shoulder. Good. One more breath. And we're going to turn to look at the floor here now. We're going to bring ourselves into lunge. So bringing both hands down, releasing that right heel off the floor and directly behind you. And you may want a blanket because we're going to lower the right knee down to the mat, right? And once you get the knee down to the mat, just take your time there for a second, press into the top of the toe. You're more than welcome to have a blanket under your knee. And then see if you can walk your hands, whether it's the blocks or the floor, to the inside of that left foot. So you get hands to the inside, and you're coming again as low as you want to come. So maybe you want to stack your blocks up and come down on your forearms with double blocks, or maybe you want to go lower. You know, be really mindful. Don't push it. Let yourself just enjoy opening through the front of the hip there. Give it some time to release deeper. Good. One more breath. Good. And we're going to come back hands to blocks or the floor because we are going to walk our hands back to either side of that front foot. And now go up high as you can on your blocks so that you're really up now, getting your shoulders up more above your hips. And you can stay there, or you may decide to release your hands to put them on your thigh. Sometimes you just want to lift either just the right arm up or even both arms up overhead, right? That's up to you. If that feels good, you can bring your arms up. If you're like, no way, that's way too deep, too soon, then keep your hands down or bring them back down to the blocks if you need. Good. One more breath. Good. And now come forward again, a little bit over that front leg. Lift the back knee back up off the floor into your lunge. And we're going to make our way back into downward facing dog pose. Walk to the tops of your feet a couple of times. And let yourself really stretch out by pressing in to the top of one set of toes and then the other. Good. And then come on back into your full dog. And let's come on out to plank. Come through into a back bend you want. Here, you may want to go to the floor and go into a Sphinx or a Cobra, or you may want to come through to an up dog. And then we'll make our way back into down dog. Let's do it one more time. Come on out to plank. You don't even have to do a back bend if you don't want. You can go to plank and then go back to dog, or you can move through vinyasa or kriya. So finish off. Come on back into down dog. Take your time. And then from there, we're going to bring our right foot forward and come into warrior two on the other side. So again, take your time to line your heels up. Get really comfortable in the length of your stance and the bend of that front knee in your warrior two. You can look at it. You can even kind of bend and straighten the front knee a little bit. Be really mindful of that outer right hip dropping down. And then when you get ready to bring your hands in front of your chest, just feel really good and centered and balanced, right? And now press your palms towards each other. Spread your fingers out a little bit. Feel that engagement up into your shoulders. And then clasp your hands and start to turn the palms away from your chest and forward there. As the arms float up, again, this is totally up to you and your shoulders. You know, high as you're allowed to go as your shoulders let you. When you're ready to release the hands, you can keep that sense of feeling very equal through the sides of the body as the arms just float on down, just to that perfect spot. Reaching out through the fingertips, softening the tops of the shoulders down. Good. One more breath. And we're going to turn the right palm up and come into reverse warrior. Nice, full, deep breaths here into the right side. Good. On your next exhale, come on into that side angle. So forearm or hand down to your thigh, doesn't matter how low you go. Swing the left arm up, and if you can let yourself press into that right hand or forearm, open up into that side body there. And then bend your left elbow, put your left hand behind your head for a second. Press your head into your hand. Let that feel really good. Feel how you're engaging in your belly there, and the left sit bones reaching for the left heel. And then extend again with the arm into that extended side angle. Pinky turns down, left shoulder comes down away from your ear. Beautiful. One more breath. Turn to look at the floor. We're going to come into lunge. So you may want to grab your blocks. Let yourself release that heel. You may want to get a blanket to put under your knee, because we're going to come on down to the top of the knee there. Walk to the inside of the right foot, either having the blocks there Or, I know a lot of you like to go down low, 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 all the way to the floor. So whatever feels good for your hips. You can bring your forearms to stacked blocks. You can stay up higher. You don't have to go low, you know that. See if you can just enjoy giving your hips time to open up a little bit here. Press into the top of the left toes so you feel that engagement when you press down into the top of the toes. Opening up there in the front of the hip. Good. One more breath here. And now come up enough so that you can walk your hands back to either side of that front foot. So you have to adjust yourself there. And then again, if you can bring yourself up to the highest height of the blocks so that you start to kind of lift that front body a little bit, bringing yourself more with your shoulders over your hips. And you don't have to let go of the blocks. You don't have to put your hands on your thigh. You don't have to lift any arm overhead, right? You can, maybe just one arm overhead feels good. Maybe keeping your right hand on your thigh and your left arm coming up, or maybe just keeping your hands down on your thigh or down on your blocks, right? Good. One more breath. And then we're going to release. We're going to come on down and we're going to come back to lunge, and we'll make our way back again into downward facing dog pose. And walk your dog a little bit. Let yourself go to the tops of the toes again a couple times. And let's open our hips. Let's bring our feet a little closer together. Lift the left leg up in the air behind us. Bend the knee. And let yourself open up there. Stack the left hip on top of the right. Let it feel really good. Feel the right heel descending towards the mat so you get a good stretch in the back of that right leg. And then we're going to lower the left foot down and we're going to switch. Right leg comes up, bend the knee, stack that right hip on top of the left. You can look under your right arm. And then you can really enjoy opening up through the back of the left leg, opening through the hips. Good, and then we'll come on back down. And from here, let's come on out to our plank. Now, if you want to do a side plank variation, you can put your right knee down, use your right foot like a kickstand, and come into that side plank variation with the knee down. Or you can do a full one if you want to. So take your time, be where you can be. Good. We're going to come down. We're going to go the other side. So again, it's up to you whether you want to put a knee down or not. If you're, lining up to get that hand under your shoulder, whether you're doing the knee down or not, getting that left hand in the right place and coming into your side plank. Good. One more breath. And then we're coming on back. Now from here, let's bring our knees down and shift back towards child's pose. Once you get in child's pose, if you can bend your elbows and bring your hands to rest on your upper back, do. If that hurts, don't do it, right? And then just breathe into your low back. Give your body time. One more breath. Good, and then we'll come on back. We're going to make our way back to all fours, back to down dog. Good. Walk around a little bit. Don't do much. Just kind of ease your way into what you want to do. And good. From here, we're going to bring our left foot forward, and we're coming up for warrior one, and you really do want to have both your blocks handy here. So lining yourself up, bringing yourself on up to letting that back heel adjust for your warrior one, and how long of a stance, how wide of a stance, be easy there. And bring your gaze on forward and out. Let your arms start to float forward, palms face each other. And just make sure you get this sense of not rounding, right? You're really drawing the arms back so that you kind of plug your arms into the shoulder sockets. And then keep floating your arms up. Now you can separate them wider. You can keep them over your shoulders. Or if you are like, I really want to clasp my hands and my pointer finger up, go for it. Let yourself be comfortable in your shoulders. Maybe bringing your gaze up a little more. Feel that lift through the front of the body, that release down the back of your body. And really feel the right foot fully in the floor back there with the arch lifting up away from the floor. One more breath here. And then bring your gaze back forward if it was up. Lower your arms on down. And we're going to straighten the front knee out and bring our hands behind us. Now you can clasp your hands, or you can reach over to hold your elbows or your forearms, or do reverse namaste hands if you want for pyramid. So as you start to come forward with your torso, you feel like you want to draw your hip pointer bones towards each other, which squares your hips, right? You're as level as you can be on your back. You don't have to go far. It's a deep pose. If you go a few inches, your legs are really working. Your spine is really lengthened. I know some of you like to keep going, and let yourself come further over that front leg. That is totally up to you. When you're ready to release your hands down, you can use any support you want, the floor or the blocks. Adjust if you need in your stance. And if you like to keep folding forward over that front leg, go for it. If not, don't do it. Good. One more breath here. And then come back more parallel to the floor with your body. And you may want to block under your hand because we're going to bring our left hand to our left hip and come into Revolve Triangle, rotating that left shoulder up, finding as level as we can be here at where our hand is and the twist in the middle of our backs. And if you like to stretch your left arm up, go for it. You can reach the arm up. You can let yourself stay with your hand down. Just be nice. Give yourself a break. One more breath. And then come on back down again with that hand. And we're going to walk around to a wide-legged forward bend from here. So, you can use your blocks. You can walk yourself on around towards the right, adjusting your feet however wide you want them to be. And bend your knees a little bit, maybe even shift side to side. I mean, just play a little bit, right? Let yourself get easier and how wide your stance is, and ease your way into getting that nice open feeling in your inner thighs. And then just set yourself up to stay with your breath, a place that you really are comfortable. Not a place that you think you should be comfortable, but a place that you actually can let go through your upper body. And then you can just watch your breath without feeling like there's anything taking your mind to it, right? You're able to let go. Obviously, you have to engage because you're standing up, but just watch your breath now and follow it all the way in, all the way out. Good. One more nice, full, deep breath. And then from here, come up and up. We're going to walk over towards that left foot to come back into lunge. So you may want to bring your blocks back over there with you. And then we'll come on back into downward facing dog pose. You're on your own from here. You want to do a vinyasa? Go for it. You want to do a kriya? You want to put your knees down and rest in child's pose, do. Or maybe you just want to stay in your dog, right? Just letting dog be a resting pose. So be mindful. Let it feel really good to listen to your body and start to get back to feeling a little more normal after holiday craziness. So finish off. We'll meet back in down dog. We are going to bring our right foot forward, and we're coming up for warrior one on the other side. So take your time. Get that length and width of stance where when you come up, you feel really good. You can get your shoulders around square to the front of the mat. You can let this back foot turn to the angle that feels good. Good. And then bend that front knee and look down. Make sure you're really aligned there with your knee. And then we'll bring our arms forward. And again, as the arms rise up, right, if you can get your arms kind of drawn back into the shoulder sockets and then float the arms up, it usually feels so much easier, right? And you can separate your hands as wide as you want. You can, if you want, clasp your hands, send your pointer finger up, letting yourself find that lift through the front of the body. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to add any back bend or look up. You can really still feel the lift without adding that little back bend right at the base of the shoulder blades. But the belly is engaged. There's that length feeling at the top of the left hip downward. Think of both arches of both feet lifting up. Good. So one more breath. And then release. Let your arms come on down. Straighten the front leg out. Bring your hands behind you. And again, you may want to hold up wrists or hands or elbows or whatever feels good, so that as you start to come forward into pyramid, maybe it's an inch. Feel the hip pointers being drawn towards each other. Squaring your hips off. Feeling the uplift of the thighs, right? You can keep going if you want. You don't have to. With the hands back like that, you may want to stay up. Be mindful of how your legs feel, your hips feel. When you're ready to release your hands down, go right ahead and let them come to any height you want. And if your legs don't feel in the right place and you need to adjust the stance somehow, do it. And then, of course, if you like to keep folding forward, you can. You can bow over that front leg if it feels good, letting your hands go to wherever's comfortable. Feel the thighs lifting up towards the hips. One more breath here. And now come on back up more parallel to the floor with your body, because remember, we're going to do that revolve triangle. We're going to bring the right hand up to our right hip, roll that shoulder up, palm down onto your sacrum. Make sure you're not rolling on that front foot. Try to keep the four corners of that foot into the floor. And again, if you want to add the arm up, you're more than welcome to do that. Let yourself enjoy finding that twist in the middle of your back. Good. One more breath. Bring that hand on back down. And we're going to walk around to that wide-legged forward bend. So you're walking to your left. Again, you can bring your blocks with you if you want. Let your feet get, just into the right width and get your stance established. And then go ahead and bend both knees one at a time. Wake up a little bit there. And then come on back to being equal, whether both knees are bent or straight. And walk your hands over to the left. You may want to just bring your blocks to the left, or you may want to walk all the way over towards the outside of your left foot. Stay there for a breath. And then we'll come back through center. And again, as you go to the right, totally up to you how far you go. Get to where you feel like, oh, I can just really feel this nice release. Press the left foot a little more away from the midline and get engaged as you're feeling that inner thigh, and just stay and breathe. Good, and then come on back into center. And again, set up to be in your pose. So you may want to keep your knees bent, right? It's fine to have both knees bent in this pose. It's fine to use blocks under your forearms or your head. It's fine to let your hands be between your feet or behind you. Just really adjust to where it feels like the easiest place for you to be right now. And then just accept your breaths all the way in and all the way out. See if you can find those little spaces between your breaths. Nice. And then we'll walk our hands on back out enough to walk back to that right foot. We're going to come on back into lunge and back into downward facing dog pose. Last vinyasas or kriyas or whatever you want to do right now, right? I mean, you can stay in dog, you can let yourself move through to back bends or put your knees down and rest in your child's pose, whatever feels good. Good. And then finish off the one you're on. We're going to knee back in down dog. And then from here, we'll separate our feet wider on our mat. As you walk your hands back, if your tendency is to want to turn your heels inward a little bit, do. And you can either rest your elbows above your knees or you can come down all the way in towards a squat if you choose, right? You can adjust how far apart your feet are. You know, you don't have to come all the way down either. Just be really mindful of your knees, your hips, and your back. Let yourself find a way to release. Good. And from here, we are going to come on back up to standing. So you can shift to get your feet back underneath you so that they're hips distance apart and parallel. Lift your toes up for a second if you can, and you might even want to reach down. If you can reach down and give your toes a little massage, do. Kind of wake up your toes a little bit. Let them feel a little love from the toes. And then let them release on back down. Bring your hands up to your hips. And we're going to rise slowly on up to standing. Once you're there, release your arms down beside you, and let's inhale our arms all the way out and up. And on the exhale, let our hands come right down through the midline to be in front of our hearts, coming into mountain pose. So if you need to sway around a little bit, move around a little bit, do, right? I mean, if you need to kind of bend your knees a little, let yourself just find that sense of coming back to being centered between your feet, balanced. And that sense of being able to very easily, once you find that alignment, just to stand in your mountain pose, both quietly but strongly. And then we'll let our arms release on down beside us and move around, shake out a little bit, do whatever you need. We're going to bring our mats into a wall. We got lots of room, so bring your mat on in. Turn the short edge of your mat to the wall, and have everything handy because we're going to stay here. But we're going to do just a little sequence that I think feels really good. Doing a little tree into a warrior three, but it's kind of like feels good. It's a releasing kind of going from one to the other. So let's do left hand towards the wall and get a little bit, you know, maybe don't get way in close to the wall. Let your arm be bent when you put your left hand on the wall, but you've got some space between you and the wall. And then bring your right foot in. But for your tree, you may want to put your heel on your ankle bone and put your toes on the floor. You may want to come to your inner thigh, or you may want to come to your inner calf. So kind of play a little bit. Get to where it feels pretty good. Keep your left hand on the wall there. And bring your gaze forward. Then, once you get your foot in the good place, bring your gaze forward. Feel that uplift in the front of your left leg there. And then rise your right arm overhead. Right? Let your right arm come up overhead. Turn the palm to face the wall beside you there. And then just start to lean into a side stretch towards the wall. I mean, you may even be able to get far enough over to put your fingertips on the wall. Or you may decide, no, I don't want to do that, but I do really feel good about feeling my foot coming into my inner leg coming into my foot, and then letting myself breathe into the right side. And then we're going to come back up into tree, And now you can let the left arm come up too if you want, up the wall. You can come into a little balance here. If you decide, well, I don't want my arms overhead, I really want my arms to be down, either hands to your heart or putting your hands behind you if you want. Or, you know, use the wall whenever you want. Just let it feel just easy. You don't want to freeze your way into tree. There will be a little movement, a little swaying. Just enjoy. One more breath. And then we're going to release. Turn to face the wall. Walk back with your hands to the wall into a down dog where you're about a 90-degree angle at your hips. Bench both your knees for a second when you get there. Spread your fingers. Check your hands out. Make sure you don't have one hand higher than the other. Hug your elbows towards each other. And then we're going to lift the left leg up, the one we were standing on, right? So get that right leg in a good place where you can come into Warrior 3, bringing that left leg behind you. Pressing into the wall equally with your hands. Think of the pinky toe facing down towards the ground. Good. Bend the right knee a little bit. Press even more so you're bending your supporting leg a little. Reach into the inner heel of that left foot. Feel what your belly does when you do that. One more breath. And then we're going to release, walk towards the wall, and turn right away to your right hand on the wall. Standing on your right foot and bringing your left foot in for tree before you even think about it. So lifting up through the front of that left hip. And again, you may want the foot low, you may want it high, you may want your toes on the ground, doesn't matter. But just have that right hand on the wall. Start to let your left arm come up overhead with the palm facing the wall. And then lean over towards the wall. Keep pressing or feeling the foot gently pressing into that inside of that right leg. And just enjoy opening up through the side body there. Good. Now when you're ready to come up, take your time. Feel how your belly, like really when you start to think about balancing, what happens is the belly starts to go, oh, I'm here. So you can let yourself release if you want, or you can keep your hand on the wall. You can let your hands come down to your heart if you don't like the arms overhead, and you know that. Good. One more breath. And then when you're ready, it's a windy day. We're going to turn to face the wall. And we're going to walk back and find that 90-degree angle at the hips and get your hands established there in this down dog with your hands at the wall. Elbows hug in towards each other. Make sure one hand's not higher than the other. Remember, it's the right leg we're going to pick up, the one we were standing on. So Warrior 3 with the right leg back. Feeling the toes facing down, feeling the elbows hug in towards each other. Really let yourself extend through the length of the spine. Now bend your left knee a little bit, the one you're standing on. Reach back into that inner heel like it's reaching directly behind you. Feel that whole length. It's pretty amazing. One more breath. And then let yourself release. Walk into the wall, turn your back to the wall, and you can come down however you want to squat. You can go all the way down if you want, or you can just kind of sit at the wall if you'd rather not go lower. Or you can do a squat where you are also have your back to the wall, right? If that feels even more releasing. You can come down and use the wall to support you, especially if you're like me and my heels. If I have my feet fairly close together, my heels won't stay on the floor in a squat, but with the wall there, I don't fall backwards. And you can just feel really released there in your back and your hips. Good. We are going to come down to the floor with our feet back towards the wall behind us. So however you need to get there, come onto your forearms and just let yourself, think about coming up where you want to be to come up into dolphin, where you want your forearms, how you want your hands, whether you want your hands apart or clasped with the pinky finger out. Press down into your forearms at first before you even think of lifting up. Press down. Imagine you're drawing your elbows towards each other. Let your heart melt down a little bit. And then you can curl your toes under anytime you're ready. You can lift with your heels up the wall, coming into that dolphin pose. And enjoy reaching back equally through your sitting bones. Remember, your knees can be bent, right? You're going to let yourself try to find this sense of being equally extended through both sides of the body. Lift legs up if you want, one at a time, or if you, obviously, you know, if you like to go both legs up, do it. And you know to rest however you need to and whenever you need to as well. It's kind of been a long holiday break. So just be mindful. You can go up more than once. If you feel like, I really don't want to be upside down anymore, you can rest however you need. You can rest in child's pose. You can sit on your heels. You just rest however you need. If you do want to go up one more time and you're not already there, you might want to go up for the last time there. We are going to make our way around towards sitting, but take your time. If you need to rest a second more before you do, we're going to bring our legs around, though, towards in front of us when you're ready. And if you need a blanket, grab a blanket, because we're going to come into a little bit of either half cow face or full cow face, depending on you, right? So if you let your left leg come a little more to the midline, and you cross your right leg over, right? And I know this isn't for everybody. Feel free just to sit like this with the figure 4. Or if you'd rather do cross-legged, and if you don't want to do a full cow face, you'd rather be cross-legged rather than one leg long, you can. If you can do a half cow face and you have this leg long, the deal with that, of course, when we come forward, it gets into the back of your leg. If you know that you're really feeling pretty good to fold that bottom leg under and do that full cow face because you want to feel a little more in your hip, right? So that's the difference, and we're all different, so don't force anything. If you are in the full, if you sit up on a blanket, you can usually feel a little more even in your hips, right? So whichever one you're doing, let yourself just sit up nice and tall for a second. Lengthen up through the top of your head. And then when you think about coming forward, again, it's coming forward from the low back. So if you have this leg down under long, man, that hamstring, that's a really deep stretch here in the back of that leg. You also are feeling it in your hip though, right? So just,
The IT band.
Yes, and the IT band for sure of the long leg, yeah. So it really So good for your low back. Good. And then you decide, does a bridge pose sound good to you right now? Does something else maybe sound even better? I planned a bridge pose, but then I'm starting to think, I don't know for sure what I'd want to be doing right now. So, you may decide you'd rather do a plow pose. You may decide you'd rather do another twist and come into some nice, slow twists that you stay in for a lengthy period of time. You may want to put your legs up in the air and let them move around. You may want to do a Uttanasana or a wide angle, right? So really, just take your own time to listen to your body. Maybe be glad that we're kind of getting a little more back towards normal hours, normal eating, normal. We still have New Year's to come. I'm not a big New Year's person. I'm gonna start to get light, but don't rush. You have time, and I wanna bring stuff around. If you finish off with whatever poses or movements you want, I'd be happy to bring you anything that will feel good. Bolsters for underneath the knees, or blankets if you need blankets. Remember, we've got all these bolsters. Little one over here, Susie.
Yeah, I love my
Okay. Plenty of cover, plenty of blankets for pillows if you want. Remember, the most important thing is that you be comfortable. There's no right or wrong way to be in Shavasana. So, just come into your breath, come in to be with your breath. Just appreciate watching it coming in and going out. Letting those little quiet places come in. They come and they go. But just give yourself these few minutes. Letting your body feel what it needs after all we just did. And allowing yourself to completely and fully relax.
I'm having gentle classes